Hey, I'm Daniel Dekay, and welcome back to the Banger Hangar. Today, I'm sitting here with Ray and Nate from Chicago's Immortal Bird. We're talking death metal, we're talking cats, we're drinking coffee. Let's hang. Ray, Nate, thank you guys for joining me at this early morning.
Thanks for having us.
No, my pleasure. Why don't we let our viewers get to know you guys a little bit, get to know a little bit of background of the band, from what started as a studio project that's now formed into this collaborative machine. Why don't you take me through the journey?
Okay, I moved to Chicago in 2012 and I really wanted to start my own band, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to tour because I had done a series of tours as like a drummer for hire. So I just wanted to start something that was really mine. I wanted to have that personal investment that I felt I was lacking with just being hired for random gigs. But after I started writing the material with my co-writer, Evan Barry, who is in a band called Wilderun now, after we started writing, I decided that I wanted to make it a live thing. So I sort of put together a live band and started playing shows. We went out on our first tour in 2014. That was really fun. And after that, I was like, okay, this is going to be a real thing now. It's going to be a real band. Now, like, we have a very solid lineup, and we just put out a new record with the lineup that I think is the real band. It feels like a real band now instead of just a project that was meant for the studio and went live, you know?
Would you agree that with this lineup you've achieved the most cohesive version of that sound that you set out to create?
Definitely. I don't know if we ever really set out to have a certain sound when we started, but I certainly like where things have gone and how the collaboration works with this group of people. I thought we had that when we did Empress Abscess in 2015. I thought that was like the most realized version, and maybe it was at the time, but now I'm realizing that maybe we're just gonna keep evolving, and that's okay.
Thrive on Neglect. I got a comment on the album artwork. I'm somewhat guilty of judging books by their covers, which in your case totally works in your favor. You've used the same artist for 3 releases now. Can you tell me a little bit about the artist and how important it is to have that visual accompaniment for your music?
I actually discovered the artist. She goes by Kikis1313. She's a Mexican visual artist. I found her on Tumblr, and she's awesome though. She's absolutely incredible. Some of the things that she comes up with are so grotesque and so horrifying that I wouldn't ever consider using it. She just goes so dark. I just love her aesthetic though. It's very intricate and very thought-provoking. It's not my favorite thing to look at imperiled children being attacked by various animals, but I do love what she does, and I don't think that we'll ever use any other artist for our cover work.
Let's talk about the writing process. I've heard you say before that oftentimes lyrics will come before music. To me, that's a pretty interesting way of doing things. Do you want to take me through the collaborative process, how you guys work out songs?
I would say the music usually comes first, actually.
Interesting.
And sometimes it starts with the 4 of us in a room all together. Sometimes we'll all have instruments, sometimes it's just me or just her. And we just kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And, you know, we're all pretty harsh critics of our own work, and we just try to make stuff that makes sense musically and flows. And then the lyrics usually come after that.
Is it the whole band's based in one place, or are you guys demoing at home and sending each other ideas?
Usually we're all in the same room. The other 3 of them used to live in the same house together, and our drummer and bass player still do.
So sounds loud.
I mean, usually it's either their house or the practice space, or you know, sometimes I'll go over to her place and we'll just jam the 2 of us.
Right on. And lyrically, what's the process? You're listening to these songs and then writing out things that you feel suit the music after you hear it?
Yeah, so it's really kind of half and half. I often have the majority of the lyrics for a record done in some way, shape, or form, sort of like as long-form poems.
Right.
But as soon as the songs start getting written, lines get truncated or changed, or things move around, or I decide, oh, that lyric can go with this song, this can go with this. When we recorded, I'd say I had like 75% of the lyrics totally done, but I wrote a full song's worth of lyrics like the day I had to track it, just because, I don't know, I changed my mind about a bunch of stuff.
On the topic of lyrical content, I read an interesting quote where you say you're not touching on anything unique, but you're trying to touch on things in a unique type of way. Can you maybe elaborate on that and how that plays into your writing?
I just think that everyone goes through similar experiences, especially when you kind of pull back and you can look at it like as a big picture. We all have dysfunctional relationships and things that cause us pain and things that make us happy and things that inspire us and things that discourage us, you know? And I think that they're often pretty similar themes. So when you're writing about that stuff, I think to be very personal with it is the way to go, because otherwise, like, it's just the same generic story of like love and loss and wondering and, you know. But yeah, like, I just don't think I'm that special, so I just try to come up with things in like a poetic way or in a way that I haven't heard them being phrased before, if that makes sense.
No, of course it makes sense. A lot of people think that their experiences are vastly unique from other people's. I think it's really cool that you're able to recognize that there's something relatable about what you're going through.
There's just so much good music out there that has shown me that. Like, maybe when I was in college, I thought that I was experiencing unique forms of heartbreak, but then I listened to Jeff Buckley and I was like, oh, other people have done this. I'll just try to do it my way.
Awesome. Picking a producer is sometimes a difficult task. Inviting someone into the writing room and into the creative mind of the band, it's like adding another band member, which we all know how hard it is to get along with the band members you probably currently have already. How did you guys come up with Dave Otero, and what did he bring to the table to bring that uncompromised vision of yours to the listener?
Wow. Well, I was a fan of Dave Otero's work for a long time. I mean, I love Cephalic Carnage. I love the records he did for them. We were fortunate enough to meet him. He came to see us in Denver. He came right up to me and was like, dude, I love your guitar tone. And that was just like a good icebreaker, because I knew he would be at the show and I really wanted to meet him. And it was really just sort of the stars aligned in a way. He was into us. He was willing to work with us. He had a relationship with 20 Buck Spin, our label. It just worked out. And he's also kind of a death metal genius. If you ever talk to anybody else that has worked with him, he gets the music on a level that, I mean, I wasn't expecting, because I'd never worked with anybody like that before. You know, he'd say, oh, I have an idea for this part, you know, maybe you should shorten this transition or whatever, edit it without even hearing it and play it back for us. And be like, whoa, okay, yeah, maybe we'll do that.
That's
in
awesome.
In most cases we did. In most cases we said yes.
It's like a very organic relationship. That's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of 20 Buck Spin, they had quite a 2019. Various of their releases made best of lists. You basically can't have a conversation about underground extreme music without bringing up that label. You guys think you're part of something very special with being on that roster right now? Overall, I want to hear your take on the label, because in our opinion here at Banger, like, they put out records that we are all fans of. It's very interesting.
Right? Like, I honestly would compare it to applying for your dream school. And even the bands that aren't like my cup of tea, I still recognize like the excellence that they're putting out. And I didn't think it was even gonna really happen for us. I approached Dave about putting out our record with the hope that it would be coming out in 2018. And he was so nice, I wouldn't even call it a no. It was the softest no in the world. He was like, y'all are great, but I don't think I can do it in 2018. And so I was like, okay, don't give up. And it's been great working with them since. And they've added sick bands since we joined up with them. I don't know when Witch Vomit joined the roster, but that band is awesome.
Yeah, band's rad.
And everyone knows Tomb Mold.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we feel really happy to have so many sick label mates. And we're gonna play Migration.
Nice.
That Gilead 20 Buck Spin curated festival in Pittsburgh. We're really, 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 really excited about that. There's so many good bands playing.
That's awesome. Musically, you guys touch on a lot of subgenres, so many that when I describe your band to someone, I tend to not mention all the subgenres because on paper it sounds fucking messy. But when you listen to the record, it doesn't sound messy at all. It's a very fluent sound, and it seems focused, even though you can recognize there's all these influences being pulled from various areas of metal. What's the secret to achieving that type of fluent sound as opposed to just sounding like a song with a bunch of different parts?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
Like I said, we're kind of hard on ourselves. Like, you know, that's sort of the hardest part is creating something that does flow. And I don't think we're ever consciously aware of, okay, this is like a death metal part, or this is like, I don't know, like some weird thing from outer space. We just try to like put the ideas together in a way that flows with the energy of a song. And hopefully the songs are different from each other because of that. And we achieve the goal of just like writing cool music that's interesting and unique, like you said. Like, hopefully not just, oh, this is going to be this genre part, and we'll just stick it with this other one.
Right. That's a huge problem with bands that do blackened death metal, for instance. It's like, oh, this is a black metal part, and this is a death metal part, and they smash it together. I don't get that vibe with your band at all. It's like a very cohesive sound. It's very unique.
Thank you.
more on genres though. We really like genres at Banger. We love subgenres at Banger. We even like micro genres at Banger. I've heard you say before that you don't feel anyone has properly designated a specific subgenre to your band yet, and that you guys are simply metal. How do you feel about genre tags in general? Do you find them liberating or limiting?
Limiting, for sure. So I used to think that I didn't care what people thought we were and that genre tags were irrelevant and it doesn't matter, but sometimes people are just wrong and it's very confusing. Like, far be it for me to dictate how anyone defines a genre, but like, we're not Doom, and we get people kind of using that with us a fair amount, like a concerning amount, and I just want to know, like, what part makes us Doom. Like, seriously, I know we have like some slower parts, we have some that aren't like super fast blasts and shit, but like, And then we get called a grindcore band a lot, like a straight up grindcore band, and I love grindcore, like I come from grind, I love it, but our songs are long, like we're just not a grindcore band, we don't have nearly enough cool samples from like weird 60s horror movies. So I just kind of like to describe us as metal or like blackened proggy death grind probably. We try to be tongue-in-cheek about it because I think there's a lot of bands that meld genres pretty seamlessly, but it seems like we often get tagged with the whole, we don't know how to describe Immortal Bird as like the first sentence of every review. I try to take it as a positive. I think it's really cool. I don't know, we're just metal. It's hard to explain. I'm not mad at anyone for describing us as anything as long as they're not saying that we fucking suck, which does happen sometimes.
Can that be a shirt? Proggy, blackened, death grind, sort of?
Yeah, and then in parentheses, probably, and then in tiny letters, please just don't think we fucking suck.
Also, we're just metal.
Also, we're just metal.
I want one of those shirts when you make those.
We'll print 'em.
Awesome.
We'll get right on it.